KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to KNON.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
Good morning, it's the Workers Beat. 972-647-1893 is our number. I'm Gene Lantz with the Bonnie Mathias.
Good morning.
And Louis Fulbright of the Postal Workers.
Good morning.
Got a bunch of stuff coming up. March the 16th at 5 p.m. they will honor working women at the Pan-African Connection. That's over by Fair Park. March 19th, Texas Tar Sands, the 411, an information session and protest action prep workshop at Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church in Carrollton. March the 20th at 10 o'clock, AFL-CIO Day of Action. SOS, Save Our Social Security. This will happen at the Social Security office on Highway 75. That's the North Central Expressway, and the address is 11834 North Central Expressway, 10 o'clock. I think that's Wednesday, March the 20th.
Yes.
March the 21st, Interfaith Vigil for a Fair Path to Immigration at Senator John Cornyn's office, 5001 Spring Valley Road, Dallas, Texas, 75244. On Thursday, March 21 at 10 o'clock a.m. Also on March 21 at 7:30, the Dallas Central Labor Council meets for affiliated members. It's not open to the public, it's affiliated members. 1408 North Washington in East Dallas. That's Bonnie's Union Hall.
Yes, it is.
March 23rd, 10 o'clock, Mayor Rawlings 10,000-man rally against violence against women. Dallas City Hall Plaza at 10 o'clock in the morning on March 23rd. On March 24th, from 1 to 5 p.m., I think this is Sunday, March 24th, isn't it? Post Office Day of Action, Dallas, Maine Post Office. Have a telephone number for that one, 214-388-4349. That's 214-388-4349. The guy's name is Sid Simmons. That's at the post office. We're going to talk a lot more about that. March 27th, the Congressional battle over the continuing resolution. In other words, this is going to be another chance for some of the reactionaries to threaten to shut the government down if they don't get the cuts that they want or the giveaways to the rich that they want. At the end of March, the Texas budget battle. That's when all the budgets are supposed to be in Texas legislature. And on April the 6th, celebrates Cesar Chavez's birthday with the Labor Council for Latin American Advancement at the Fort Worth Parade. Meet at the LACLA float on the street close to the Convention Center downtown. On April the 9th, Blue Ribbon Lobby Day for Progressive Women in Texas. It's on the internet. It's tdw.org. I don't know what TDW stands for. I bet the W is for women, though. April the 10th, State Employees March in Washington. I got a number for that, too. The state employees are under attack everywhere. Yes. All public employees are, including teachers and school janitors. Everybody that works for the government, everybody that's subject to these cuts that they just passed, are in terrible trouble and need to be defended. So we're going to go to Austin on April the 10th. 214-942-4305. Let me give it again. 214-942-4305. Ask for Joe. It's supposed to be on the internet at Texas Forward, but I couldn't find it last night when I looked for it. The Job with Justice meeting last Wednesday looked over this whole list and said, well, let's work on the one on public employees.
Yes.
Because that's part of the global fight against austerity. Public employees are like the sacrificial lambs for all the cuts that are being aimed at everybody. It's especially hitting public employees, post office employees as well, and that's why we asked Louis Fulbright to come in today. Brother Fulbright, what is going on?
Well, what's going on, Gene? The main thing with the post office is, first they want to do the 5-day delivery. We want to go from 6 days to 5 days, and this is not one that will work. It will cut back on everything. Some of the things there's two bills. There's a Senate bill 316, and there's a House bill 630 that's going through that will fix the problems with the post office.
So these are good bills.
These are good bills. These are bills we ask all members and all members of the community to contact your lawmakers, make the public aware, and realize that widespread planned closing will delay mail every day in cities and towns across the country. Now, what would this deal do? The Postal Service Protection Act, it would fix the post office immediate financial crisis by ending the mandate that requires the post office to pre-fund health care benefit for future retirees, a burden that no other government agency or private company bears. And to elaborate a little more on that, what that is, 2006, when they had the lame duck Congress after Bush left, they passed a bill that said the post office would finance $11 billion for the next 6 years. And that money was for the future retirees 75 years away. That's people that was not even born when that bill passed. And in 2006, one of the things I called our legislative people in Washington, D.C., that's, hey, how did you guys let that bill get through? They said the post office told them at the time they could afford to do that because post office was drooling in money. As you know, that's the backbone for the government. That's the cash cow. It was a cash cow. But what happened after 2006, if you remember the economy, the bottom fell out of the economy. Post office could no longer meet that burden. They paid it for the first 2 years, $22 billion. The last 5 years, if the post office had not had to pay that $22 billion, they would be in the red they would be in the black $400 million. So that explains that.
So it's an artificially contrived crisis.
It's an artificially contrived crisis, definitely, without a doubt.
The post office would not be going broke at all, except that they had to pay this way in the future pension payments.
Correct.
Wow. That's a lot of money.
So the bills that you mentioned, they would solve that problem.
They would solve that problem. They would also allow the post office to recover the overpayment U.S. Postal Service has made to federal pension plans. And to mention those federal pension plans, the post office pays 60% of their retirees. They fund it into the government. No other federal agencies supply more than 42%.
Wow.
Post office employees also are about 50% of the retirees. I will agree.
So the post office was boxed in by previous legislation, and ended up. So now then, this is like the public schools. That first they cut them, and then they say, hey, this is not working.
Yep.
So now they want to do away with Saturday delivery.
Now they want to do away with Saturday delivery, and this bill would also reestablish overnight delivery stamps for first-class mail. If you know right now, if you mail a letter, say in Garland, and send it to Dallas, it's going to come to Dallas. Dallas will not process it. It goes to Capel. Capel will process it. Usually it's a 2-day thing right now.
I see.
And they would like to change that where it's a standard for 2 days, because the standard for 1 day overnight delivery is still in effect. They're trying to change that. So this would do that. It would also protect the 6-day delivery, which the Postal Service says regardless to what Congress does, Congress has passed a bill to say you can't do that, but Post Office says they're going to do it regardless.
So if the post office was to do away with Saturday delivery, about how many jobs would be lost?
About 20%.
My gosh, that's thousands
huge.
and thousands.
And if you figure the Post Office has a payroll now of approximately 600,000 people, so you're talking about losing about another 200,000.
So we're losing 200,000 jobs.
That's the wrong direction.
Yes.
Well, it's also the wrong direction because it's part of the substructure of the United States.
Exactly.
One of the reasons the United States succeeded when other nations were not doing so well was because they built the substructure. You know, they built the highways, the railroads, and the mail service to keep this economy rolling. And now they want to do away with part of the substructure. That seems like it's going in the wrong direction.
Without a doubt.
So what can people do about it?
What do they
How
do?
can we help?
What they need to do is call their congressmen and representatives, send them letters, call them, and make sure that they understand that the public do care. They've done studies, both sides, you know, naturally, and they've said that, you know, 37% of the public does not care what they do, whether they cut out the sad delivery. Well, that's a small sample, trust me, because 80% of the people will care and it will affect them. You have veterans, people that are housebound that delivers mail 6 days a week, and some of them get their medicine. They
Yeah, I was
cannot
gonna say.
afford to miss that Saturday delivery.
Right.
Seniors get their medicine that way, don't they?
I've gotten my medicine by mail for many years, maintenance drugs,
I see.
because we're forced to do that through our contract.
I see. So, you want to give that House bill and Senate bill number again? Because if people want to call their congressman, they need to say, want House bill this or that, you know?
The House bill is House Bill 630,
Uh-huh.
and the Senate bill is 316.
And they both say pretty much the same
They
thing.
both say pretty much the same thing.
So if you call a senator, you tell them it's 316. If you call a congressman, representative, then you say 630.
And this is the guys in Washington, okay? Not the folks in Austin.
And
These are the guys in Washington.
Yeah, these are the good bills, so these are the ones
Yes.
who say, please pass these bills.
Yep, these are the one we want you to support these bills 100%.
And then what about on the 24th? What's going to happen there?
On the 24th, we'll have a rally at the main post office.
Actually, there's several around the state, right?
There's several in each city. There will be a rally,
Uh-huh.
and this is what the NALC, National Association of Letter Carriers, have put this rally together. And I have questioned as to why we were doing it on Sunday, and their thing was all of our letter carriers are off on Sunday, so that's the best day we can get the most people out. So that's the day that we will do it. And
So-
we at American Postal Workers Union will be out there 100% behind the letter carriers.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Sunday the 24th from 1 to 5. And the main post office, can you describe how people get to that if they're not real familiar, like if they're coming in from Fort Worth or something?
If you're coming in from Fort Worth, come in on Interstate 30, take the Beckley exit and make the U-turn, and it'll be right there on the right.
The Beckley exit, all right?
Yeah, the Beckley exit.
And then what if you're coming out from the other
If
side?
you're coming
on Highway 30?
from Dallas on Interstate 30, take Interstate 30 going toward Fort Worth. As you cross the Trinity River, take the first exit, which will be the Sylvian exit.
Uh-huh.
And the post office is right on the right. It covers that almost whole block there, so you can't miss it.
Right. So people know about it because they passed it a lot of times. They just might not have ever thought about
Yeah.
getting off there.
And we ask all citizens to come out and support us in this, because this affects not just postal workers, this affects everyone.
This is something that everybody's got a dog in this race.
Yes,
And what are the hours for that again? 1 to 3?
No
1 to 5.
1 to 5, okay.
Is there a particular time that if people can only come for 1 hour, is it a particular type day or hour that you want people to come? Well, 1 to 5 that's a, well, if the media comes, when's the media going to be invited, for example? When's the television going to be invited?
You know, I don't have the details on it because, like I say, the letter carriers put it together. I'll have to get with Mickey Morris. Mickey Morris is the state president.
Well, maybe he'll call in. He
And
listens sometimes.
if Mickey is listening, Mickey can call in and give me some details on it.
Okay, 972-647-1893. If you have an opinion, what's your experience been with the post office? Do you have an opinion one way or the other about the way things are going? Would you rather see them get a little bit better funding than what they've had lately? Would you like to see them return to this idea of one-day delivery in the metropolitan area? Or are you content to let them go back to 2 days? And also, what's your take on the history of the American Postal Service. You know, we usually say it was started by Benjamin Franklin, one of the founders of the American democracy, one of the wisest men in our whole history. So there's a lot of tradition and a lot of economic reliance on the Postal Service that's being under assault today. Could be changed, and I would think that people would have an opinion on that. 972-647-1893.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Louis, how come if I mail a letter from Garland to Dallas, why does it go to Coppell?
Because the Dallas plant no longer processes any mail there.
What is that?
It's just a transit facility, basically.
They consolidated all.
They consolidate it and send it all either to Fort Worth or to Dallas to process it.
They were trying to get rid of the main post.
I remember that.
Last year.
I remember
I
that.
think it was only, actually they tried twice.
It was on the hit list, absolutely.
Yes, and it was to be closed. And the public came out. I'd like to thank the public, and especially like Clay Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
Clay Jenkins helped us out a lot, Ross West, and also Senator Johnson. Not Senator Johnson, Congressman Eddie Bernice Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
All helped us out with that, and they did give a reprieve on it, and I feel like it's only a matter of time before they come back and want to close the main post office again.
And it's kind of peculiar, too, because, see, the main post office, well, for a long time ago, when I first moved to Dallas, the main post office was actually downtown.
Uh-huh.
And then they moved it just right on the outside, right outside of town, right outside of downtown, just across the river on Highway 30. And so that's convenient. That's why you have post offices, is for people's conveniences. But they want to shut it down because it's convenient. In other words, they want the real estate. They said, hey, we got real estate here that's right across the river from downtown. This is worth some money. So
I'm catching on.
Let's shut it down, and if people's convenience that comes second.
Absolutely, because you know the growth that has come at Sylvan and Fort Worth Avenue. Right there's the Belmont Hotel and Bolsa. All these, it's kind of the gateway into the Bishop Arts District.
Mm-hmm. They wanted to do all this stuff in Coppell. So how many times you been dropping by Coppell lately, brothers and sisters?
I'm not even sure
It's
where
Coppell.
it is.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some wonderful people in Coppell, and I'm sure they'll be glad to have the main post office and all its facilities there. But that's why they wanted to shut down the main post office in Dallas, is because they realized they had some hot property that they could make some big cash off of.
I'm so glad you cleared that up.
Yeah, we'll be
I had no idea.
We'll be back after this break.
I got to work this morning. Something seemed kind of strange. My body door was missing. There's a machine set in its place.
Goodssearch.com provides a way for you to support nonprofits like KNON with your online shopping and dining. Goodssearch.com offers a downloadable toolbar for searching from your computer called Good App, so your purchases can support KNON. With Good Dining, every time you go out to eat at participating restaurants, then a portion of what you spend gets donated to KNON. Registering is easy at Goodsearch.com, and KNON 89.3 is the name to enter in your account settings for charity selection. Support KNON with your online shopping and dining at Goodsearch.com.
This is Sonny Boy Mark, and I'd like to take a minute here to tell you about over 60 minutes of great blues listening available now on KNON's Texas Blues Radio Volume 5 Blues CD. This is some great stuff, folks. 15 tracks from the Two-Tones, Blues Boy Bo, Buddy Whittington, Andrea Dawson, Kirkland James, Sonny Colley, Johnny Red and the Roosters, the Chris Watson Band, the Rough Cut Blues Band, Jeff Stone with Charlie Love, David Millsap, Sir Loin and the Ass-Kicking Machine, Michael J. and the Paul Bird Band, and JJ and the Detonators. The 1,000 copies we made are selling fast, and we won't reissue it. Get yours now at Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie, Record Town in Fort Worth, and in Dallas at Bill's Records and Rewind Music. The CD is available as a download at cdbaby.com. All proceeds benefit KNON, sponsored by Forever Young Records. Vinyl copies available at Forever Young Records only. For more info on Texas Blues Radio Volume 5, visit knon.org. Your ears been bending for some blues? Well, feed them the real thing with Texas Blues Radio Volume 5.
This is William, your videographer for the KNON talk shows. You can watch Workers Beat by going to knon.org website. Click on schedules to the left side of your screen. Choose Workers Beat's page. Scroll to the bottom of the page, then choose your favorite show to watch or download. This show will be ready for viewing by lunchtime Tuesday. Have a great day.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day.
Work like a slave all day. And not get paid much either.
That's right.
972-647-1893 is the number. KNON loves it when you call. You're not imposing. 972-647-1893. Communications Workers of America President Larry Cohen called for a path to citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants before 800 union members, their families, immigration advocates, faith leaders, and community leaders rallying at the Arizona state capitol. And Brother Cohen said, quote, "We need to tell each other this is not about legal and illegal only. It is about hard-working women and men. It's about people who share the dream with us. It's about our children and the children to come." This is a strange, unusual turn going on in the labor movement. There was a time when labor would not come near undocumented workers.
Right.
There was a time when labor was just nearly as racist as the rest of this society, and African Americans were segregated off into separate unions. You know, there was a time when women were hardly even acknowledged in the union.
That's very true.
And there was a time, as we learned last week, when Becky Moeller called, that women who were pregnant was considered a disability.
Yep.
You know, they darn sure weren't going to get any insurance or anything. So things have come around a long, long way, and the labor movement, I think, can really be proud. The Dallas AFL-CIO passed a resolution in favor of immigration reform, and it was unanimous.
Yes,
there
it
wasn't
was.
even no argument about it.
Nope.
I was tickled to death. This is different though, and I want to kind of get this point made, that it's not because the unions have suddenly become a religious institution or have suddenly adopted the idea of brotherly love being the main guidance thing. The main guidance thing in the unions is to try to win. And if you want to win, you have to have friends and allies. And if you want to have friends and allies, you have to support your friends and allies.
Organize.
And you have to organize. So that means if anybody's a working people, if a working people happens to be undocumented, he's still a working people.
That's right.
And if a working people happens to be gay or transgender or something, they're still working people, and they're still our allies and friends, and we have to just get over whatever our backgrounds may have brought us to, and say, hey, the point is to win. So if you want to win, you have to have friends and allies. If you want to have friends and allies, you have to be nice to them. So I'm very proud of Larry Cohen for making that speech from the CWA, and I'm very proud of the whole labor movement and the turns that we're making, the changes that are going on today. We're talking, though, especially today, about solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the Postal Service. Now, is it not true that a lot of postal workers are African American?
Yes.
How's that happen?
Well, it happened in the 60s when John F. Kennedy passed a bill that required them to, because before then, like you said earlier, there were different unions. You could not be in the same union, and etc.
Yeah, it was segregated.
He put all that together and passed a bill where they started hiring minorities. Mm-hmm. And in the 60s, there was a real flux of minorities, and especially blacks, that came in.
Right.
Early on, most of the minorities that was hired was blacks. Now you have equal number of blacks, Hispanics, and also Asians coming in. Mm-hmm. Now I would say the last 5 to 6 years, you've had more Asians probably hired than any other people.
So the civil rights movement and the union movement are hand in hand in the Postal Service.
Most definitely.
I can remember, I wonder if you were there, if you remember doing this. You guys used to have your hall over on Davis Street. The APWU hall, the Postal Clerks Hall, was on Davis Street, right near Hampton. It was about one city lot down from Hampton. And in between that hall and Hampton was a Shell station. And back when Nelson Mandela was still in prison, we used to picket Shell stations.
Oh my gosh.
So we set up a picket at a Shell station, and we went over to the postal workers and said, when can we do this so you can participate? And so they told us when the union meeting was going to be. I believe it was on a Sunday.
Yes.
So we went out and picketed the Shell station. There wasn't but 3 or 4 of us, from Jobs with Justice. And then next thing you know, you look up and there's 200 people from the postal workers picketing the Shell station with us, and all of them saying the same thing: get Nelson Mandela out of jail. So that was a wonderful moment in the way I remember your union, Louis. Do you remember that event taking place?
Yes, I remember. Our president, I can't remember whether it was still Archie Salisbury or J.D. McAllister, but I remember J.D. McAllister was the president at the time. That had been in the mid-'80s.
Mm-hmm.
And J.D. did have, we closed down the union meeting. We took a recess from the union meeting, and everyone went over there and protested and marched.
I've got pictures of that, and that was a very proud moment, because we were going, Job with Justice was going around picketing those Shell stations, and we hardly ever got more than 7 or 8 people, but there for a moment we were 200 strong because we had the postal workers with us. Are you proud of that? Are you proud of the fact that we got Nelson Mandela out of jail?
Most definitely.
It took millions of us to do it all over the world. But,
and he spent, I believe it was approximately 27 years in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had we did our little part in getting Nelson Mandela out of jail, which transformed the nation of South Africa.
Yes.
Because as soon as he got out of jail, they got rid of apartheid, and that little hotbed of Nazism and fascism was finally put away. And so it makes you feel pretty good to have been a little part of that.
Yes.
And we certainly acknowledged at that point that the civil rights movement and the union movement were hand in hand. It was the same thing, at least for that Sunday afternoon while we were picketing the Shell station together.
Well, it's still the same thing.
Yes,
hand
it
in
is.
hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Well, Martin Luther King certainly thought so, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
There's a bunch of quotes. I've got pages of quotes where he talks about how labor and the cause of African Americans were not just intersecting, but they were actually the same thing. Because when you get right down to it, in America, almost all African Americans are workers.
Yes.
And they make the best union members. Now that's something that interested me when I was working on the organizing committee for my own union, which is a manufacturing union. And so I just for fun, I had a list of about 1,000 non-members at that time. Wow. And so just for fun, I started looking up their races to see how because we had that from the company, it had a race code in the information from the company. So I found out that there were only 2 non-members that were black, and out of that whole list. And
wow.
The non-member, the participation in the union was like at that time about 70%. This is back in mid 80s, and but the participation among African Americans in the same union was about 99%. Was over 99%. So how do you explain that?
Well, I think what you have to realize is the blacks were brought to this country for one thing. That was to work.
Mm-hmm.
They were brought here for no other reason. So that's all they know is to work. So to be able to work and to earn a living, they're going to give their all, and they're going to be all in for it. Mm-hmm. Now, even in the post office, our highest paid people are our ETs.
What's ET?
ET is electronic technician.
Uh-huh.
They are the highest paid people in the craft.
Mm-hmm.
They are also the least organized.
Isn't that the truth?
Is that interesting?
I wonder how that. We have tax, outside techs. Same thing in CWA. They're the highest paid,
Yeah.
but yet they're the least organized.
So how do you explain it, Bonnie?
I don't know if nobody's ever asked them. I don't know.
Well-
It's very interesting.
I think I could speak on it alone, in my opinion, only. Is that the higher paid people feel they don't need the union. They've got theirs.
You're right.
So they don't need anyone, representing them until they come and say, when do we get a next raise? When is our cost of living?
Or until one of them gets in trouble.
Or until one of them gets in trouble. And, in Texas, you have to represent a person whether they are a member or a non-member.
Yes, you do.
And, the theory has always been, well, will you take care of me if I'm not a non-member? My concept always been, as a union rep, I will represent you fully.
That's right.
You have to.
I have to, by
That's
law.
right. By law.
I say, but now, there's a difference between representing and defending fully. And they say, well, what's the difference there? And I tell them, it's technical. I couldn't explain it to you, but you will see the difference.
Yeah.
And normally, when you tell a person that and their job's on the line, they're more than willing to say, give me 1187.
Give me that card. Give me that card.
They suddenly want to sign up when they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, in my own industry that I come out of, the aerospace industry, most of the techies are not organized. However, at Boeing, which is the biggest part of the aerospace industry, we're talking about Washington State, not Texas. But the engineers organize their own union, and they always try to get their contract right after the workers get theirs. But kind of piggybacking on. But we're proud to have them in the union movement. We're glad that they finally did join. It's true, I think, sometimes that the technical staff tends to think they're too good for everybody else, and that they don't really need to work with anybody else. That they can't be replaced or something like that. But that is not true of the worker on the line. The worker on the line understands the necessity of getting along with everybody else and pulling together, because the boss don't listen when the workers qualks, but they have to listen when the union talks. So,
did you read about the strike at Waste Management?
No,
this past week?
Is that in Fort Worth?
No, that was actually in California. Workers protested. They did a 5-hour strike in Oakland, California, and the Teamsters refused to cross the picket line. So nobody did. The clerical people refused to cross the picket line. Everybody refused to cross the picket line for 5 hours, and the company caved. And they have a lot of unlawful practices at
Is that the
Waste
same waste
Management.
management as we have here in Dallas?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is.
This Waste Management here is a company that's been paying off the governor, and has got all this.
I'm kind of thinking maybe the city council, county. I don't know who's getting paid.
Well, the governor definitely has had some really big contributions from the guy who runs Waste Management, who lives here in Dallas, I understand.
I think, yes, sir.
And so they've got a place where they can dump radioactive materials in Texas, and all the other states can dump their radioactive materials.
That's out in
West Texas.
out around Lubbock, isn't it? Lubbock, Amarillo, somewhere around there.
Out. It's almost on the border with New Mexico.
Oh, well, so we share with them. That's so nice.
Well, let's share the stink, probably.
Right.
But that's the Waste Management company that I know of.
That's the one. That's him. Absolutely.
We need to organize them. The Teamsters have been pretty good about trying to organize just about everybody that moves. And so consequently, Job with Justice jumps in and helps them, even though they're not affiliated with the AFL-CIO here locally.
Right.
I don't know if they are at the national level or not.
I don't think so.
But you got to admire people that are organizing and doing what you can with them. That reminds me that there is going to be a meeting toward the end of this month. I believe it's on the 26th, of people who are interested in helping with the Walmart organizing drive. And I believe that will take place at the United Food and Commercial Workers Hall in Northwest Dallas. I'm not positive of the details, and I'm not too sure who's invited, but if you're interested in helping with the Walmart organizing drive, get in touch with me. You can always find me through my webpage, labordallas.org, because in my opinion, the organizing drive at Walmart is critical to the whole union movement, or to the whole working people's movement, worker justice movement in the United States. Not a lot of organizing goes on in the post office, is there, Louis?
Most of our organizing is done when the new employee orientation.
So that's internal organizing.
That's internal organizing.
Mm-hmm.
We do very little outside organizing.
Because you already organized.
Yeah.
Right.
You already got pretty much everything organized, but they've been outsourcing a lot of work.
Yes.
From the post office.
Yeah, and one of the things they're trying to outsource now, and I'm not sure what's going to happen of it, is the motor vehicle transportation part of the post office.
All the truck drivers used to drive post office trucks, and they carry that mail around, and they were part of the union.
Yes.
Or part of one of the unions. There are actually several post office unions, aren't there?
Yeah. Actually, APWU has 3 different branches in it. Well, actually 4, because we got a support unit. Mm-hmm. But we have the clerks, we have the maintenance facility, which is the maintenance employees, and then we have motor vehicle. But they all come under APWU.
Okay, that's Amalgamated Postal Workers Union, APWU.
American Postal Workers Union.
American Postal Workers Union.
Yes.
So, how did the union come about?
The union came about.
It's not a real old union.
No, it merged. Actually, it was formed in 1971. Mm-hmm. When the Reorganization Act of 1970 came about, all these unions were separate unions. The clerks all had their union. They had the white union and the black union for the clerks. Motor vehicle had their union, special delivery had a union, and maintenance had a union.
Mm-hmm. Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. So
People
they decided, let's have one big union, we all get together. Mm-hmm. They met down in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the, I can't remember the hotel, the big hotel there in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. But they met in New Orleans and they formed this one union with different branches of it.
Just because of the timing, I guess the civil rights movement must have had put some pressure on them in that way too.
It did, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. And before they formed the unions, just to show you the effect of it, the average postal worker in 1970 was making $3.59 an hour. Mm-hmm. Once they formed and they put a pay package together, now our former president, Mobilla was over New York when they went on strike in 1970.
Right, and that was quite a story.
That was quite a story, yeah, because the post office went on strike, and that's when they came in and they said, okay, let's form this, and Congress passed the Postal Reform Act, mm-hmm. and that's when the unions were formed. The average salary now of a postal employee is probably about $22 an hour now, mm-hmm. which means they can live comfortable.
They have a living wage, and you have government benefits.
Yes.
All right.
And they have some of the best health plan benefits available.
Because that's all because of
the unions.
Not because of the company. We'll be right back.
Tell you all a story that's close to me. Worker who's leaning on a bended knee, soiled and tattered in search of relief, fighting for some unspoken belief.
Recycle Revolution is a local recycling collection service and community drop-off center. They collect and accept all traditional recyclables, including paper, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, and glass, as well as materials like TVs, computers, lamps, light bulbs, batteries, ballast, and styrofoam. They offer collection services to apartments, condos, and businesses. They also offer a community drop-off located at 1703 Chestnut Street in Dallas. For more information, 214-566-3025 or recyclerevolutiondallas.com. On July 25, 2005, Knon was granted a license by the Federal Communications Commission to serve the public interest as a public trustee until August 1, 2013. Our license will expire on August 1, 2013. We must file an application for license renewal with the FCC on April 1, 2013. When filed, a copy of this application will be available for inspection during regular business hours. It contains information concerning the station's performance over the last 8 years. Individuals who wish to advise the FCC of facts relating to our renewal application and whether this station has operated in public interest should file comments and petitions with the FCC by July 1st, 2013. Further information concerning the FCC's broadcast license renewal process is available at KNON 5353 Maple Avenue or may be obtained from the FCC, Washington, D.C. 20554 or www.fcc.gov.
I wake up in the morning at 4:45. The alarm clock is relentless, for goodness sakes alive. Back to the old barnyard, the Monday morning grind.
Winter Speed, I'm Gene Lantz. The number is 972-647-1893. And we are honored today to have Louis Fulbright, who is the head of the retiree department now. But you served several other offices in the Postal Clerks Union, haven't you?
Yes.
What else you done?
I've been a steward, chief steward, secretary treasurer for the local, trustee, human relations director. As a matter of fact, I formed the human relations director position here in Dallas, and it is still going strong. And I'm currently a trustee here in Dallas.
You're currently a trustee, and you're also head of the retiree department.
Yeah, I'm president of the Dallas APW retirees.
And you're vice president of the state Retiree Alliance.
Yes, for the Alliance for Retired Americans, I'm a state vice president.
Mm-hmm. So you're still a very active man. Really got your hand in the union movement.
Yes.
Okay, now we talked about getting people out on the 24th. Now that's going to be Sunday. It's going to be at the main post office, which is on Highway 30, just right outside of Dallas, just across the Trinity River from Dallas.
And you actually want to take, if you're going west on 30, you want to take the frontage road exit. If you take the Sylvan exit, you're going to be a little bit past the post office. So you want to actually take the frontage. Yes, it's a frontage road exit.
Very first exit.
Yes.
After you cross the river, then you get the heck off the highway on Highway 30.
Pretty close.
And if you just got on Highway 30 from you coming down south on 35 and you get off on 30 going west, then you want to get off immediately.
Yeah, it's real quick. Mm-hmm.
You'll see the post office there. Post office always have American flags hanging out front, so that's where you can tell. Okay, so we want to get people to come on the 24th between 1 and 5, and the question is, will they? The 972-647-1893 is the number. What is your opinion about people turning out? Because we were just saying during the break that just about everybody in America knows that they're in trouble. Mm-hmm. There are cuts coming at them. There's layoff people coming at them. There's somebody after your job or somebody after your health care in just about every job. And that includes union jobs. Even some of the best unions are in terrible trouble because the companies, and with the government's blessing, usually are trying to cut them. So how come it is that even when people's jobs are on the line, a lot of them still don't come to the meeting? They still don't come to union meetings. They still don't come out when there's a picket line. They still don't come out when there's a march or something. How does that happen? What's the reason? Well, Job with Justice, which is my organization, has been doing a little survey. It's a very short survey, takes about a minute to do it. It says, why aren't local people participating as much as they should in meetings, petitions, and public activities? Please rank these possibilities, with 1 being the most important. And A, you could put a 1 on this one. A is you don't understand the problem. They don't understand the problem. B is they do not believe that taking action would make any difference. C is they do not believe that other people like them will join them in taking effective action. And D says they're just afraid to step out of their comfort zone. So I just asked Bonnie and Louis to take a look at that little survey and put a little 1 through 4 on those things. What'd you pick for number 1, Louis?
I picked for number 1, A. They don't understand the problem.
They do not understand the problem. Okay, Bonnie, what'd you pick for number 1?
B.
You picked B. They do not believe that taking action would make any difference.
I hear that a lot.
So I picked D, Delta. They're just afraid to step out of their comfort zone. The first bunch that I processed, they either chose B, which is what Bonnie chose. They do not believe that taking action would make any difference, or they chose D. They are just afraid to step out of their comfort zone. Of course, it's kind of hard to distinguish one from the other, because one of these things causes the others.
Right.
If you say, well, they're just afraid, well, they're afraid because maybe of A, B, or C.
I don't get it.
So it's not that clear what the causes are, but we do know that people are not participating. And for example, the Dallas Morning News recently printed an article where somebody had done a study of who are the worst states for voter turnout. And guess who came in fourth from the bottom?
Let me guess. Texas.
You were absolutely right.
Oh.
Texas, we were not the worst. I guess we should have been celebrating that we're not the worst.
Yeah, because we do have other categories where we are.
There was 45 states that are doing better than Texas in voter turnout. And so everybody's been trying to explain that ever since. But it isn't just voter turnout. It's turnout at union meetings. It's turnout at public actions. It's calling Congress when there's something bothering you, that you need to call them. People are just not participating. And at the same time, the situation is getting more and more grim.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's bothered me ever since 2007 is that we never once had a decent-sized action for jobs in North Texas. We had people trying. In fact, I did a little vigil for 6 or 8 months down at the Bureau of Labor Statistics on the first Friday of every month.
That's right.
But I found myself down there by myself once or twice. One time, Bonnie's union came.
Yes.
And so we had 10 or 15 that day.
Yeah.
But to a large extent, we were never able to get the unemployed themselves to march. And during the 1930s, which we're always looking back at that and saying, what's different between now and then? During the 1930s, there were thousands of people marching in North Texas, forming unemployed councils, and then they didn't do that during this great jobs crisis. Why not?
Because Governor Rick Perry says everything is fine.
And they believe him.
And I think they believe him. They keep electing him, so they must believe him.
We should have put that on the survey.
Right.
They believe Rick Perry.
Yeah. I mean, he's made it quite clear that Texas is number one. Unfortunately, it's number one in creating minimum wage jobs.
Mm-hmm. Annie, what'd you put? You got a live microphone over there? Annie's running the show.
Yes, I do. I put number one.
You put
letter A for number one, yes.
That's the same as Lewis.
Yes.
So people just don't understand the problem.
They don't understand the problem, and they have a bad perspective on it. I believe there's a lot of people here who believe that being in the union is un-American and unpatriotic.
Uh-huh.
I hear it a lot.
Really?
I hear that
they also tell us that it's unchristian.
Right. It's bad for the job creators. It's bad for business. It's lots of things like that.
I love that job creator thing, don't you? Yeah. Let's see. Randall Stevenson made $23 million last year, and he probably cut 6,000-7,000 jobs last year.
What people don't understand is the huge disparity between the top and the bottom, how much the percentage is and how much it's changed.
Isn't it like 458% now? And back in the 30s it was, like 10%.
Like, maybe 20 or 30%, yeah.
So, folks don't understand, and I hear people, well, they work hard.
Right.
Really? Really? I want you to follow one of my prem techs around for a week and then follow the other guy around for a week and see which one of them really works harder. Because I don't see the CEO crawling up in an attic when it's 120 degrees up there to install somebody's UVerse service. Don't see it.
But you do see them making more money than they have ever made in their lives, and more money than's ever been made in history.
And it's very interesting because the CEO of Costco, he takes a $500,000 salary a year. That's it. The rest of the money the company makes goes back into the workers, their benefits, their salaries. Wow, what a novel concept.
But Andy doesn't think people know that. And neither do a lot of people.
So you should listen to KNON.
People don't know that. Well, they're listening to KNON right now, so they must know because we talk about it all the time, don't we?
Yes, we do, and I think it's important.
Disparity.
Yeah, tell other people. You know what? If you really want to know what's going on, for real, tune into stations like KNON on Saturdays and listen to the talk shows because you will learn things that you didn't know before.
And if you have an opinion, you can call right now, 972-647-1893. We're trying to get people out on the 24th.
Yes.
And we will get some people out on the 24th at the main post office to stand up for the idea of keeping 6-day delivery. Because the Postmaster General says he wants to cut, in spite of what Congress may say, he wants to cut Saturday delivery out and lay off 20% of the employees.
No, the Postmaster General didn't say he wants to. He said he's going to, regardless to what Congress does.
Can you do that? He thinks he can anyway.
Yes.
Okay.
He might have...
Whether it will stand up or not, I
he
can't
might have
say.
delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, because I'm thinking the United States Postal Service, he ain't got a whole lot of, I'm just thinking he can't just come out and say that and think it's going to stick.
Well, American people are going to have to stir if they want to keep 6-day delivery, that's for sure. So here's a chance to show some solidarity, to get on the good side of some really good, important workers. A bunch of civil rights activists as well as union activists are in the Postal Service. And so here's a chance for people to come out on the 24th between 1 and 5 at the main post office. And the question is, why do some people not participate? 972-647-1893. I was interested in our discussion at the Job and Justice meeting on Wednesday because the younger people did not choose, they did not pick option A. They said, no, people know what's going on. They say people are better informed than they ever have been. They chose option number 2. He said they do not believe, no, not option number 2, number C. They do not believe that other people will join them in taking effective action.
How can you find out if you don't get out there?
Well,
just asking.
It was interesting because I have also read that today's younger generation, what they call Generation Y, is the best informed generation of people that have ever lived.
Then they need to get up off of their butts and prove it.
They've had the internet for their entire lives.
Right.
So they know more than anybody ever has. And at the same time, since they're so centered on internet stuff, they are also the most alienated and the least trusting of other people, or so I have read. And that makes sense that they would choose, they would not choose the first option. They would say, okay, everybody already knows what's going on. Because that's from a point of view of a young person that they think everybody is like they are. And that everybody does know what's going on. However, they don't trust other people to do anything about it. So
they don't do anything either.
Well, right, because they don't trust anybody else to do anything. Or this is the interpretation that I'm making, just from having talked to a few young people. I've had several of these conversations, and I'm getting quite a bit of data too.
Good.
I've got about right now I've got about 60 of these surveys in, and I want to thank Lindsay Porter from UAW 848, because she invented a way to count them, so you don't have to just keep going through them over and over again, tallying.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you can count them on the computer.
Excellent.
That's another Generation Y thing.
Right.
I said, is this possible to do? And she said, I have no idea. And then 30 minutes later, she calls up and she says, I've got it. So she had this figured out.
Meanwhile, you and I are still trying to figure out how to turn the computer on. Well, maybe not quite that bad, but
The seniors that are getting computers nowadays, the ones that have active grandkids, are way ahead of everybody else because they ask their grandkids how to do everything.
I have to ask Shelby's grandson at the office. I'm like, hey, can you call Cody and ask him how we do this.
Yeah, how old is Cody?
He's like 11. I'm ashamed, but it's true. I mean, she does it too.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, how do you do that on my phone? I mean, it's, we have to continue to learn. We can't give up and just let these young kids take over because they're not ready.
Well, after we get this survey, all the data comes in, we figure out pretty much what's wrong. Then the next question we have to ask is, what are we going to do about it?
Right.
Because people have got to start turning out. They've got to start voting, and you've said this 100 times on the radio, Bonnie, that the people if they didn't vote, they don't have a right to complain. They should have voted.
That's right.
And it's up to us to figure out some way to get them to vote.
That's it.
And to get them to participate.
I'm very proud of what Texas Organizing Project did across the state of Texas.
What they did?
They signed up. They knocked on 35,000 doors before the presidential election, and 20,000 of those people went and voted.
Wow, that's great.
That's huge. Mm-hmm. That is huge. Some of them for the very first time ever. Mm-hmm. So I think that we just have to continue doing more and more of that in our neighborhoods, explaining to people how important it is that they get involved and vote. If you can't do anything else, vote. Mm-hmm. At least that's your voice. Mm-hmm. And if you don't use it, you can't complain.
Let's see what Lewis says. What's the prescription, Lewis? What are we going to have to do to get more participation? You're a long time union leader and a long time civil rights leader.
Just thinking about from our local, and most locals to go through the same thing. We once had about 4,000 members, over 4,000 members in our local. Mm-hmm. We now have approximately 2,700. Wow. Now, average union meeting, we would have 40, 50 people at the meeting. Mm-hmm. Now, those 40 or 50 people made all decisions concerning the union. Let's be realistic.
That's right.
Now, if we came out and put out a deal that we're going to have a dues increase, we would have 150 people there.
At least.
So I told our president, as a matter of fact, Mr. Yari Wonder, who's our local president now, Yari, what we should do is put out a notice that we're going to do a dues increase when we got something that we want to make everybody aware of. And at the next meeting, let all these people come out, and then we would tell them we're just going to table that. Let's bring up our other business.
There you go. That's a great idea.
So
really
when people are threatened at the very visceral
at
level,
that pocket level.
Yes, unless it's affecting them directly and hurting those people, they're not going to react.
That's right.
I mean, you've got to punch them and then they'll react.
Hey, why'd you do that? It's like, oh, you want me to do something? Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for coming, Lewis. You're great information. Thank you very much.
And a great influence on all of us.
And thanks for having me at KNON.
So we'll be we'll be back next week, and you are in for a treat now because Jim Schutz of the Wise Man of Dallas was up next. Thank you very much.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to KNON.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.